Welcome to Club Damingo, brought to you by Cyclone Comics.
Good morning, Tim.
Hello, Gary. How are
How
you?
you going, Mr. Cruel Sea?
Yeah, very good. Oh, yeah, this is my Real C t-shirt. I only bought it last time I
Is
saw
it?
them.
How many times have you seen them live?
Once,
Oh,
and I bought the t-shirt.
right,
So
okay.
yeah,
It's
I've only ever seen them once. Yeah, and it was amazing. And everybody who went, who has seen them more than once, more often than me, has was saying it was one of the best shows of theirs that they've seen. So that was good to hear. They've
Was
still
this
got it.
recently or in the
Yeah,
middle of their popularity?
no, earlier this year, just
Oh,
earlier this year
okay, yeah.
at the wonderful City Recital Hall here in Sydney. Really great venue, which we've seen like Mozart's Requiem only a few weeks ago, a month ago, and we also saw Courtney. What's her name? Courtney Barnett. It does
I
both.
was about to say
This
Courtney Cox.
oh no, Courtney Act. So
Yes.
it's a great venue for all of that. We have wonderful seats for the Whitlams, because normally we're kind of on the is it called the stalls on the floor,
Yep.
and there's actually not a bad seat. It's a pretty small venue, so even when you're like two-thirds of the way up the back, it's still really really good. But there's also seats along the side, which is where we usually sit, especially if it's a bit of an orchestra or an ensemble like that. But we sat on the side, but like right over the stage for the Whitlams, and we looked over Tim Friedman's shoulder while he was playing the whole time, and that was a great way to see them, because I've seen them a lot. It, from way back in the back to leaning on the stage, as well. So I've seen them in all sorts of positions. So to see them from that was great. And he looked, Tim Friedman tries to involve the crowd, and he looks around a lot. So he was looking up at us as well.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a great venue. I wish more of who I'd like to see would play there,
Yeah.
because it's a nice and comfortable and lovely spot. So yeah,
Right. Okay.
easy to get to.
Yeah.
So that's where I saw them. But we're actually seeing them as part of a festival early next year, maybe, with Paul Kelly, Missy Higgins, a few people like that.
Right.
So
That'd be a nice roundup.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it had me thinking. That there's no the idea of the music festival now has really morphed. So I don't know. Did you ever go to music festivals when you were young? I didn't go to a lot. It's not like I've actually seen so much more live music and rock acts in the last 20 years than I did in my first 30 years, I reckon.
Right.
Um, uh, Probably the last 15 years. So I didn't go to a lot of festivals, but I went to a couple. But I knew about them. There'd be a huge festival, and it would go all day, if not for 3 days,
Yeah.
and it would be
Yeah.
all the current bands in Australia, all the Australian bands, and maybe there'd be like an international festival as well, or some international acts or whatever. And it was like when the big day out finally collapsed a few years ago, and they've all been like Splendor in the Grass, and they've all been seemingly collapsing one after
Mm.
the other and just not getting enough people to go. Um, but they have those huge festivals which are just, I don't say just because it's what you're into, but like DJs and so raves, and up here at Olympic Park, they have them often, right? So
Right.
we,
Okay.
we see people turning up to those often. I'm going, well, I guess that's what's replaced the music festival as such as what I knew it. And then I was thinking, well, hang on, I'm about to go to one, and they have like the one at the Hunter Valley. Is it the Hunter Valley? In a few places around Australia. A day on the green, I think they call it. And I think that moves around, or if it doesn't move around, there's ones like it all over the place. I'm going, so it's all the people who used to go to those festivals are the ones who are still going to them, but now we have like a cheese platter and and bring
Yeah.
a cask wine instead of beers or whatever, and
It's
sit
interesting.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. So the whole way that music is enjoyed in this country totally changed. Um,
Paul
and that's
Kelly. Paul Kelly's going to this one that you're going to
yeah,
next year. Yeah,
yeah.
he's in his 70th year, or he's about to celebrate his 70th. I mean, what the fuck is up with that? Paul Kelly is 70.
I know. That's pretty wild. And he's amazing. We saw him at the Domain, a really big anniversary concert of some sort, I think. Um, that kind of concert, I find it really hard to go to now because yeah, you're a long way back, and
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if you're with people like my kids who will help us get to the front, you don't get that close to the front. But you have to stand up all day, basically
yeah,
all day, waiting for the show. And
yeah.
the last one we did like that at the Domain was the Arctic Monkeys. Was that 2 years ago now? Maybe, I don't know. Which was pretty good, but they were great, and the support acts, which were, I think they were all Australian, were really good as well. But it's still, I'm going. I'm getting more and more used to sitting in small venues, if not actually leaning on the stage, and like I want to be that close to the action. Um, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah, things are changing. That's for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. Well, talking of festivals, I noticed during the week that the Comic Arts Awards of Australia have announced that they're putting together a festival as part of the awards for
yeah.
next year. So,
Interesting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That was a great segue too, by the way. I hadn't even planned that. Um, Mr. Segue.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so I think there's been a little bit of online discussion and questioning of are the awards going ahead this year? Where's the ceremony announcements?
yeah. Which we
So
can't
yeah,
answer because we're no longer involved.
that's right. It's not
Mm,
not our baby.
and not our baby.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's
So
hope that it continues on, and let's hope that this kernel of an idea of a festival actually grows to be something, because it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of
yeah,
sense that
yeah.
there's festival
Well, when
activities
you
attached to the awards.
Yeah, when you and I were running it, we did try to attach it to like a convention or a fair or a festival a few times, and I think
Yeah,
that works really well. That
yeah,
last one that you did was at Paper Cuts, and
yep.
I think that's a great idea. Um, so yeah, so according to Daniel Rathbone, the current organizer, uh, twice next year, once early in the year, January
To play
for
catch up. Yeah,
for comics release in 2024,
yep.
and then one later in the year, like he said, I think November. I think is that what he said?
I think
Um,
it's heading in that direction. Yeah, I can't actually
yeah,
recall. Yeah,
yeah, October, November
yeah,
for comics released in 2025.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And I can totally understand to a certain extent the way these things slide, and how he's going to have to play catch up with with one of the years instead of doing two together, because that would be a bit
yeah,
sloppy. But
yeah,
I can totally understand that if he's got all these chess pieces in place, he knows what he wants to do and how to do it. But it's just a question of time, and time allows for things to slide.
yeah,
Um, this is a good answer to the problem,
yeah,
as well as announcing a certain amount of growth with the festival idea as well. So I hope it all
yeah,
coalesces into something positive.
yeah, yeah. So, and he's calling it the Comic Arts of Australia Festival, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So we've got the Comic Arts of Australia
Award.
Awards of Australia,
Yeah,
and so that's CAR, and then we'll have CARF as well, a
yeah,
CAR and a CARF.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, and again, those of you that don't know, Daniel Rathbone, Dan Rathbone, he runs and organises the geek markets, which are mostly Canberra, but have been out to Goulburn and Wollongong this year, and he did one in Sydney last year. So and I'll be going to a geek markets in November this year in Canberra. He's got what they call the Christmas market. So I'm supposed to be tabling at that one, so hopefully I'll get to go to that. And they're always a good show. So I guess there's a lot of plates in the air, because I think, as far as I know, Daniel's still got a full-time job as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, at
mean, it's
least
not a
4
huge
geek
leap from what
markets.
he's doing with the geek markets to somehow
That's true. Yeah,
stitch them to the awards and make a bigger and better thing.
yeah,
I assume that it'll be a floating festival once it's up and running, like the cars are as awards. They can go around the
yeah,
country to different spots here or there. But it could
yeah.
very
You
well be
assume
that.
that, Gary? That's a big assumption to make. That's like you're
I was,
pulling that out of nowhere.
I was about to say the other thing that I can pull out of nowhere is that it's a fixed location, like in
That,
Sydney or in Melbourne or
yeah,
wherever. Daniel is Canberra, whatever he's based.
yeah. He's
So
based in Canberra. Yeah.
yeah, so
So
who knows?
well, what makes a festival, Gary? What will make it a festival rather than a geek market? Which I know for certain that Daniel is trying to morph less from a market, which is basically what it was. It's like a big artist alley, really.
Mm-hmm.
For the first while he's been doing it, he's very much trying to morph that into a convention situation more. He's got the last one, I think, the last two maybe. He's had actually possibly more, but he's had a stage with panels and cosplay and interviews and stuff like that. So he's morphing it into that convention sort of situation,
Right,
but without having to pay to get in still, which is amazing.
right.
So you've got the markets, you've got something that's more like a convention. What makes it a festival, an arts festival?
Balloons. I don't know
Streamers,
what's in a word. What's in a word? Less marketplace and more festival. I mean, whatever there is, the Venn diagram does overlap, and it's individuals' idea of how much it overlaps. Like like Scamp, for example, with the Sydney Comic Arts Marketplace. Is that what that stands for? I mean, that could very, very well be a festival as well, but the festival's not in the word, in the title.
Yeah. So
what's in the name?
I mean, if you look at Paper Cuts and PCAF, they don't feel like conventions to me. They feel like a festival. They don't feel like a fair or a marketplace. They have a market day where there is a marketplace, but they feel like an arts festival, and it's because they have a full day of proper talks. Programming. That's a great way to say it. Programming. I was going to say professional development, but it's not just for professionals or semi-professionals. It's also for the public and amateurs and etc. So they have a full day of programming, both of interviews and presentations and workshops and all of that as part of it. And I think the idea of having, if you can, something like a Read to Me, some sort of an event like that, also really helps to create a festival thing. I know when I was involved with one of the really large comic conventions, who even this past week or so, have got themselves in the hot water again. That's right. Don't say the name.
Hot water.
I could see, and I still don't understand why they never did it and why the competition have never did it. I could easily see that becoming a 2-week end, so a 1 week with 2 weekends, a weekend either side festival, where it ends with the convention, but the week before you have satellite events, which the convention itself doesn't even have to organize. It's just if you have that gravitational pull of whatever it is, 50,000 people coming through the door. I don't know how many they get through the door anymore, 20, 50, 80, whatever it is. Why aren't you having a comedy night on the Thursday night? Why aren't you having a film festival that runs the whole week at a little film cinema, at a little cinema somewhere? Why isn't the weekend before the professional development weekend or something? And like I was thinking of that like 15, 20 years ago. I could see them being built up to that. Can't see Oz Comic Con doing that because they're very much about conventions and fairs. They run the quilting fair and the Better Homes and Gardens thing, and I think that they've got the capacity to do it, but I don't think there's probably enough money in Oz Comic Con for them yet to risk money to build something larger. But one of those two large conventions could easily, I think, have the gravitational pull to build something larger.
Well, an arts festival to me, or a festival, defaults to celebration, to information and celebration about the art form, while a market day in and of itself, to me, represents sales. to
Yeah,
being able to
commercial.
a more commercial. You're there
Yeah,
to buy stuff, while a
yeah,
festival is all about roll up and learn about it and celebrate it.
yeah,
And they can both overlap, as I say. The Venn diagram, one can be part of the other, but I think
yeah,
a festival is more a celebratory thing to be involved with, while a market day is more of a commercial aspect
yeah.
of things.
Yeah, so I think looking at things like writers' festivals, it seems to be that's probably closer than like an arts festival to what comics festival might be. So looking at what the writers' festivals do with panels and meet and greets and signings and workshops, and but I think we're really lucky that comics are a little bit uh, fringy in a way that it means that we can bring in a musical night, as in like rock bands or whatever, and or a performance night, and that there's I think it lends itself to a broader arts festival than the Writers' Festival might, for example. And maybe that's just me not being
Yeah.
broad-minded enough. But yeah, so that's what I hope for both Scamp, because I know that the name is Sydney Comic Arts Marketplace. They haven't built the word festival into their base name, but I know that that's what they're aiming for.
Mm.
And I hope that Daniel Rathbone for the Comic Arts of Australia Festival also like does something to that level as well.
Yeah.
I just hope that they don't clash, because
Yeah.
they're both on at the
Yeah.
like one of the last events of the year. Scamp
Yeah.
is one of the last events of the year.
What also I'd throw into the mix as far as a festival is, what were those ones that were at the Opera House?
Oh, graphic. Oh my
The
God,
graphic
yeah.
festivals, where there's a
Yeah.
couple of headliner guests, whether they're local
Yeah.
but or overseas, but a couple of big headliners to draw the people in, and
Yeah.
once they're drawn in, they can actually get exposed to the other stuff that's happening around the festival edges as well.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
think a couple of headliners, key headliners, would be important if there's money in the budget.
Yeah, yeah. So those kiddies at home that are too young to remember graphic, how long ago was that now? Was that like 15 years ago, 10 years ago?
I think so. Yeah.
And I think they did in the end maybe four, not every year. I once talked to one of the organizers at a gallery opening or something, and we were chatting about it. Oh no, it was at a read to me. I think I was chatting to him about it, and I said it appears to me that when the Opera House, because it was on at the Opera House. Oh my God, what an amazing venue! Um, when the Opera House schedules their year 5 years in advance or whatever, and goes, well, there's actually an empty weekend here. What can we do to fill that? Um, Maybe we'll get graphic on again, you know.
Right.
And he said, oh, kind of that, not really that, but it takes too much organization to just go, here's a gap, fill it, even if it's a few years out. Because as a real inverted commas, or try not to be derogatory, but as a real arts festival that has a lot of money behind it, they went out and commissioned really large projects to be part of it. So unlike a comic convention where you might pay for someone to come from Brisbane to sit on a stage and give a talk, or even somebody from LA or New York to do that. These guys were commissioning complete orchestral performance pieces written specifically to go with this piece of graphic art, or maybe do both at once. Dave McKean came out and did his amazing musical performance material. Eddie Campbell was on stage with a quartet, a famous Australian quartet, playing while his stuff was on screen, and so pretty amazing. And graphic was not just comics; it was. I think that the remit was more just visual storytelling, so it was film, animation, comics,
Right. Okay.
illustration.
Yeah, right.
But one of the ones I missed out on, and I'll never forgive myself for missing it, because people have told me about it, was the rock band Regurgitator. So if the kiddies at home don't know Regurgitator, pull up Unit on Spotify. That's like the album I think that really encapsulates who they are. Regurgitator were commissioned to write a brand new score for Akira. So for the animated film Akira, they wrote a brand new electro rock kind of score. So they played it live while Akira was showing, and I think it was in like if it wasn't the biggest of the halls, yeah, it was in the second biggest, the Joan Sutherland. So it was in one of the really big halls in the Opera House, and somebody I know said it was the loudest thing they've ever been to in their entire lives. And it was just incredible. I go, well, that is such a great pop culture arts festival thing to do. My first exposure to read to me type events was there as well. I think they were calling it Radio with Pictures at that point. And Matty Quinn did a lion dance comic, and then they had this continuous lion dance image projected above him that was scrolling across continuously. But real lion dancers came out as well, and did a lion dance while he was doing his talk. Matt Taylor, I think his name is. I know there's a couple of Matt Taylors in Australian comics, but Matt Taylor had a comic about a heavy metal Viking, and he had like a heavy metal guitarist come out and play while he was reading the comic, and the pictures were coming up. So it was that, I think all of that stuff I'm talking about, well, most of that was in the first one, which was probably still, the most cutting edge of the lot. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well,
so I want to see these festivals build to that,
a dollop of that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for the first one, but if there's a growth path, that's where it could sort of end up for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you and I always wanted the awards to end up being anyway, is this festival event space that represents Australian comics in a positive way.
Yeah. So if we had a festival that was able to get international guests, like PCAF does, I don't think Paper Cuts has yet. What international guests would you bring out, Gary?
Rainer Telgemeier.
Yeah, cool.
Should be one of my top ones to try and get out here. What's his name? Darren Warren Johnson, is it? The guy that does the wrestling comics that's now on Batman.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he'd be a good one to get.
You're much cooler than I am. You're thinking of really interesting people. That's great.
Yeah, Jeff Smith would be good to get out.
Yeah. So what's the name of the first person you said?
Rainer Telgemeier.
Rainer,
He'd Smile and a lot of tween kind of graphic novels that Ashton Scholastic at the same time.
So someone like that would create I try not to say normal people, but people who don't read comics as such would come to the festival because she's such a big name, and I thought you would have said the Hernandez brothers.
Oh well, yeah, of course. There's plenty of people that I'd misremember and think, oh, I should have said that. But Jaime Hernandez, really on a selfish level, and Mike Mignola.
That's right. My God, yeah. I see. He would bring in people from all sorts of places. Yeah.
But I think you need to spread out to outside the American superheroic field. Still, do one or two from there as well, but maybe a great bag full of maybe not even. There's plenty of that going around. So
exactly. Point of difference. You need a point of difference.
That's right. Yeah. But get all these people out and some heavy hitters from the local scene as well, and treat them all like rock stars and have a blast.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what graphic was like for a lot of the guests. I felt like there was not an opening, like a welcome drinks, which was really large, and free champagne for everybody. And I snuck into one of them only once, and like stuff like that would be great. It can be done in this country, so hopefully one of these festivals will grow to that point, if not all of them.
Well, we mentioned Scamp already. Now you're going to Scamp. It's on in a couple of weeks. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's at the Leichhardt Town Hall.
Exactly, Leichhardt Town Hall.
At the moment, it's a single-day event.
Yeah, but I know that they're wanting to grow that. the second year, and I think they're still kind of finding their feet. Yeah, Saturday, November the 15th. 10 till 4 p.m., 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Leichhardt Town Hall.
That's nice and
So
central.
yeah, um, yeah, nice and kind of inner west.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's so. Yeah, that should be nice. Well, it's a marketplace, free to get in. Mostly a marketplace, I think, at this stage. So I'm sure there'll be more announcements. I don't really know too much about what the organization is of that. So the next couple
But
of weeks there'll
Samuel
be a
is on
couple
the
more.
organising committee there.
Yeah, organizing committee of like six or
Right.
seven
Okay.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I assume that what was the first one like? Was it similar to Comic Conversation where you had panels happening while people were still selling on the floor? There was.
Yeah, the panels were just outside though. That
All
one
right.
was at
Okay.
Petersham Town Hall, and there was a little like breakout room.
Yep.
So yeah. So, and it's it is November, so we're kind of we're at we've had a lot of shows this year, so I kind of understand that people might start going, well, do I need to go to another one? But um, you probably, if you've got the day, you should probably come and support this one, even though they don't make money from you walking through the door. Every person that comes through the door is counted, and that will help them to raise funding for next year. So it needs support, and if you want a Sydney-based comic arts festival, this is the horse to get on. It's the Melbourne Cup today as we record. So yeah, that's that's the horse you have in the race. Sydney is Scamp. So yeah, and it's run by people that I like to refer to them as the good guys. It's run by good guys, right?
White goods
So
sellers, fridges and washing machines, and
that's right, exactly.
that's a major sponsor.
Not those good guys.
Oh,
Yeah, the right sort of people. So Siobhan Coombs is the spearhead, and her shop, Cockatoo Comics, seems to be doing really well actually, because it's like there is superhero comics there, but it's not the reason why you go.
right.
Mostly you go to get all of the more arty and interesting comics, and so yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, what else we got here? Drink and Draw is coming back as well.
That's just this Friday night, right?
It's Friday night, which is when I post this, it'll be tomorrow night.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
if you post it on time.
Oh,
Now you have to.
That's true. I might post it on the same time as Drink and Draw and compete with them. No, I won't.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, this Friday night, 8 p.m. I guess you have to look up Drink and Draw Australia on the internet to find the links. I don't have any links here, but
Yeah.
that should be fun to see that return. They've got like 3 Fridays in a row at this point.
I think Spedsy is spearheading that as the host, and I think he's hosting it on his YouTube channel as well and things like that. So Rob Lyle, Spedsy, if you do a search on that Drink and Draw, I think you'll stumble across all the socials and the appropriate links there.
Cool.
Australian Portrait Artist of the Year, Dean Rankin.
Oh yeah. Emery and I watched the first 2 episodes, and Dean's episode is the second one. So we're gonna watch that every night or so, every other night or so. Keep watching.
Yeah. So highly recommend. I've seen the first 2 episodes as well. And I don't want to speak too much out of school while it's still fresh. People should just go and see it, and maybe in a couple of weeks' time we can discuss it a little bit further about appropriate subjects and who I would have liked to have seen do what subject. Blah blah blah. There's all of that. Yeah, exactly. So we won't go into it too much because it's still brand new. So so there's that. But congratulations to Dean for having the chutzpah to put his hand up for it and getting selected and getting amongst all the oils and acrylics and saying cartooning's valid as well. I'm going to use my style and make elbow room for a bit of cartooning work.
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm doubting myself, but I'm pretty sure it's Ben Brown. I think I said this before, is also coming up on one of the episodes.
Right. Okay.
And he's done comics, but he's more well known for band posters,
right.
Like for Frenzal Rom and Hard-Ons, etc. His comic style, cartoony style. So I haven't seen any of the work from him in the show yet. So I'm interested in seeing that. And somebody I worked with for a while, Amanda Wee, she's in it as well. And I don't think she's ever done comics, but she does like a manga or anime style, illustration style sometimes. It's
Right.
just beautiful. And her portrait work I've seen on her Instagram is just beautiful. So you're going to see beautiful work quite often.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I was chatting to her about being on, etc. And people, always say you should be on it, Tim. I'm going, well, thanks, but I don't paint, and and I don't think I'm the right kind of person to be on it. Um, and she said, but my husband's on it, and he doesn't paint. I said, well, what did he do? So he did like a graphite pencil drawing. So I haven't seen his episode yet either. But that was a surprise to me as well that he was in it. So it's worth watching uh, past Dean's episode 2. Just keep watching because there's other interesting stuff going on in there,
Yeah.
and just beautiful artwork and watching people work. And
Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that's worthwhile tracking down on iView, ABC iView. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah.
It's all bingeable. It's all there now, even though it's broadcasting once a week. The whole thing is there to binge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, interesting decisions on streaming and whether to upload the whole season at once or not. Different streamers do different things. I've been watching.
Especially when it's a competition,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I've been
We
watching.
could be talking about who won. We could be,
We
even
could
though
be. Yeah.
only the second episode's been broadcast.
Yeah, no, just a healthy dose of space between launching of everything
Yes.
and being able to do a spoiler
Yeah.
conversation about it. So give people a fair
absolutely.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching the UK Celebrity Traitors show. That have you
Yeah, right.
you know about that at all? It's a game show
I know
format.
about it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, where like I don't know, 18 or so celebrities get cooped up in a castle and they have to bump each other off, and some are traitors and some are faithful, and well, it's a whodunit kind of thing over a given week. And I've been watching that, and they only upload because it's being played on what is it? Is it on SBS?
Paramount Plus.
Paramount
No,
Plus. Anyway,
Channel 10. Yeah.
Channel 10. Yeah, that's right. So they're playing it week by week and then uploading week by week as well. So I can't binge. And it's, comparing it to being able to binge and have that choice, it's bloody annoying. Because if you're into something and you feel like inclined on watching the next episode, you have to wait a week. And it's like, how 1970s programming is that?
That's right. Exactly. Oh, man. Remember when you had to be home to make sure that you saw Who Killed Laura Palmer? Or
yeah, exactly right. Or go back
Mr.
even
Burns?
further to things like miniseries like Roots and Against the Wind and all these other kind of event programming where you go to school the next day and all you can talk about is, did you see Kunta Kinte and what happened to him? And,
oh my God, that is an old one. Wow. That's like the first. Was that the first miniseries? Yeah. Oh, wow. That takes me back.
and of course, you'd make the teachers so angry by saying the word Kunta Kinte the wrong way. Anyway. So.
Terrible. Yes, especially in Ashfield. That's how we got on. Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I've got is I don't know whether we were talking about the Undertaker, that title that I'm putting together, Autopsy, was on record or off record, like on or off air. But the artist that I couldn't remember, which was really stupid of me, was Matthew Dunn.
Matt Dunn.
Do you know his work at all?
Remind me.
It's very spooky, high contrast, black and white artwork in a lot of cases. Very moody, which is why I thought he'd be a great one to take over the Morton Stone series. But he did a couple of stories for me.
Where's he based?
Melbourne, I think, at a guess. I think.
Oh, Matthew Dunn. He's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Have you got a Matthew? Are you sitting on a Matthew Dunn?
I'm sitting on two
Undertaker story?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Wow. Oh, that's something to really look forward to. Jeez, he's so good. He uses is it dip pen or is it like the side of a knife? Or
he uses lots of things for his sharp, jaggy effects that he gets, and a little bit of electrotone, and so very moody. He's doing his own webcomic stuff at the moment, and I think his life was a little bit hectic to take on the obligation of an ongoing Morden Stone gig, so it sort of fell apart. But at least he got 2 stories finished. It was
Amazing.
originally going to be 3 to fill up a whole issue, 3 Matthew Dunn stories, but we've got 2 there that I'll be releasing in this autopsy, or at least one of them in this autopsy book, with the other guys, with Jason Paulos and Dylan Naylor and Ryan Vella and Matthew
Brilliant.
Dunn. Matthew Dunn, Matthew Dunn,
Yeah.
Matthew Dunn.
There you go. If you want to look him up, kiddies at home, it's MatthewDunnArt.com. That's with 2 T's for Matthew and 2 N's in Dunn. MatthewDunnArt.com, DUNN. Yeah, and then follow him on the socials and whatnot. That's where you'll see his stuff on a regular basis. Yes, amazing. Feels it's like it's so rough and raw and visceral and brilliant.
I love it. He's great.
Catch.
So that's all I got. So I got one more thing to talk about. But have you got anything on your list that you'd like to mention at this stage?
No.
No.
Piss off.
Well, in our conversations about how to promote and push forward Australian comics and Australian comic creators, I came up with a thought the other day that I thought was worth mentioning, or at least articulating. It might have its flaws in the idea, but back in the day when Cyclone was going, and there were things like the Jackaroo and Dark Nebula and Southern Squadron were all vying for their own titles, Dave DeVries and I came up with an idea of having Squadron lead their feature, and they would have a short Jackaroo backup. And then in the Jackaroo feature, it would be a Jackaroo main story and a Squadron short story backup. And that would never actually progress beyond one issue of us doing that method. Then we sort of split and went our separate ways and whatever. But the concept of having a book split between 2 IPs like that would cover a lot of promotion of both. So I was thinking, extending that idea, not only doing that with someone else who has another IP that would serve as a nice backup for your primary story, why not extend that overseas to a European or an American artist who has a similar IP that would fit as a backup, and you develop a relationship with them whereby you do a backup for their title, they do a backup for your title in Australia, and you both handle distribution and printing in individual countries. Yeah. So that
I love it.
That way the American person is pushing their IP primarily, but your one goes along for the ride as well and gets an American exposure, and vice versa for the Australian market. But whether the numbers of sales would warrant the quality of the exercise, I'm not sure. But the whole idea of sharing your book and hoping that the other side also can handle distribution and marketing of the book appropriately as well could be a way to get into international markets in a physical sense without you having to worry about distribution and printing of the overseas edition. Yeah. So, and that's as far as I've thought about it. I'm sure it's got problems like dealing with chunks and stuff like that. But it's also got legs, man. Absolutely got legs. Yeah. And if not a main story backup, if you trust the person enough and have a good enough relationship with them, it could be a 50-50 split. Where you do an Australian edition and a US edition, and it's a 50-50 split, and you push Australia, they push America or Europe, and the page count is more evenly balanced. A flip comic was purely from the point of view of alleviating you having to deal with printers and distributors overseas. Interesting. So let's step back from that 50-50 model and back to like feature and backup, right? Yep. So if there was a Jackaroo comic and it had a backup of John Smith's comic, right? Yep. And then it would be the opposite in America, right? Yep. John Smith's comic would have a feature, and you'd have to produce a specific backup, right? A 6-page or an 8-page or something. Yeah. But you're talking about also printing and distributing the Jackaroo over there as well, right? So it's part of the deal that you, Gary Chaloner, are making
the Jackaroo comic and getting a 6-pager from John Smith, but you're also going to be publishing on behalf of John Smith his comic with your backup in it.
Hadn't got
Is that
that
right?
far. Hadn't in my
Right.
nebulous processes. I was thinking that it would be your only exposure to the American market would be that backup.
Yeah. Okay.
There
Yeah.
wouldn't be a parallel Jackaroo title and then IPB with a Jackaroo backup. It'd just be it'll be an initial entry point into an overseas market. So when you could get your character seen and a few sales under the belt.
So it helps you when you're finally distributing via Diamond, or trying to get international Kickstarter backers, or trying to get international people to come to your webcomic editions.
Yeah.
No, totally. That's a great idea.
I approached it from the initial thought of alleviating dealing with printers and dealing with distribution, which if you are on the ground and local, you'd be able to deal with that so much easier than doing it from Australia and vice versa. I don't know what the appeal would be going the other way, but some American or European creators might see the need to, if you can handle Southeast Asia and Australia and New Zealand distribution and marketing, we might let's talk kind of thing. So it might be appealing if you can do the right deal.
So I'm already going all about now, because you're going Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, marketing, printing, distribution. I'm going, I can't even do that for myself, just in Australia.
But based on your relationship with the other IP owners, you find a happy medium as to what they're getting out of it.
Yeah. 100%. I think there's a good conversation starter there on and how can we make this work, sort of thing. It's one of the reasons why I've been pushing Michael Michelandos, co-creator of Greener Pastures, to write a bunch of Greener Pastures shorts, not for me to draw, but for me to see if any of my Australian comic book friends would like to draw them instead. And then when there is an anthology, either in Australia or internationally, that has, is doing a call out, I've got a 8-pager or a 4-pager or a 12-pager to say, there's this one, do you want it? And it's already ready to go, So, and I've already done that. I've had, old stuff like Die Bull Die, which is Trevor jumping out of an aeroplane. I gave that to Quick Nick to publish in his Flyboys anthology, right? Because it had the theme. And then there was an anthology in England. What was the anthology? I think it was just an anthology of fur actors. And I said, do you want this? And they took that. And there was one in America who wanted brand new material. It's the second volume of what they've been doing. It's called We Suck at Comics. And they did a Kickstarter for that, and they were looking for contributions. And I said, and the theme was like going outside of the lines, coloring outside the lines. So being a little bit outside of what comics normally are. And I had a short, which no one else has seen yet, a short where Michael Michelandos, the writer, knocks on Trevor, the character's door in Trevor's apartment block and has a chat with Trevor, as writer to character.
Yeah, right.
And they published that. So, and they paid us a little bit for it. Same with that anthology that Hamish Rankin and I are both in. I just said, I've got this monster comic that's 25 years old, if you want to publish it. And so, there was a specific intention on my part to put Greener Pastures in lots of places,
right?
So that when people see it for real as the comic itself, they go, "Oh, I know that. I'll buy it."
That's very, very close to the concept. But I was thinking back in the day, if Hepcats, for example, was still being published on a regular basis, and Greener Pastures was a regular backup to that title, the benefits that would flow from, and whether the creator of Hepcats would see the value in doing a Hepcats backup, which could be just a scene or two from the regular Hepcats comic that could be freestanding, that could operate as a backup to a Greener Pastures comic in Australia. Whether the benefits would be worth it or not. But
Yeah.
yeah. And for some American producers, maybe just having an Australian edition would be enough, like with a bit of money trickling in, but that's not the main reason for doing it. Just having another edition out there would extend the potency of the IP as far as an international brand or IP. Yeah.
It's actually that's really good thinking. It's got me thinking. The problem is, right, I kind of me personally and um my personal psychosis of collectability and etc. Like I've got to put lines. I got to like put lines in the sand and not cross them. And if I start looking at all of the people in America and England who make comics to my level, like that self-published sort of level, and try to support all of them as well as trying to support stuff in Australia, and trying to remember who was what and who should I marry greener pastures up with. It's like I don't know how I would do it, but I think as part of a business plan, it's probably something I should be thinking about for sure. I've purposefully been not looking too hard at America, at who is at my level of creation, because I know that's another huge rabbit hole I would go down.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it would also involve a certain amount of trust, and contracts and things like that, which is a whole different level of involvement.
Yeah. I kind of I'm dipping my feet in. We've spoken about a friend of the show, Dean Haspiel. I definitely look at him and what he's doing and how he's achieving, because I feel like, even though he's got so much more experience than me, but just trying to see how he's almost starting from scratch with his own IP and self-publishing. Jamie Jamie from Spackow and Pulp. Pal Pulp, and what they're doing. So I've just picked a couple of things to really look at. Really amazingly, that whole thing with Pal Pulp, am I saying that right? Is it Pal Pulp? Anyway,
so.
As an umbrella co-op, is already way out. It's way out of my league already.
Right. Okay.
Like if I was thinking about saying to them next year, "Oh, this is what Greener Pastures looks like. Can I be, party or mob?" It's like, oh, I think they've already gathered some really amazing work there, which is all pretty left of field, and some of it's quite art, art comic driven, and some of it's not. But I'm going, wow, they've put their foot down, and they've got like rocket fuel in the tank. As far as what I can see, right? And it's all marketing, because I don't know them personally. So they're an interesting bunch to watch, I think, in that regard.
And it's interesting that these things, there may be a huge marketing push and a huge acceleration, and all the names involved may start with the best intentions in mind, but go back 18 months down the track after the fact, and 2 years down the track, and have a look back and see where they're at. And that's like a lot happens in 18 months in comics, in publishing.
For sure.
So to stay true to that vision, where both sets of IPs and parties are actually getting the benefit, that's hard to maintain. It's hard to maintain just releasing a comic, let alone doing it. Fulfilling obligations to another party.
And that's the fear I have for Jamie. What's his first name? His last name. So Jamie from Spackow, and I don't think I've got his name here. Jamie Jones, I think it is. That he's overextending himself. And again, I don't know him, and he's younger than we are, and he's full of beans. And like I said, he's making his own anthology, and he's been crucial in creating a comics and creator-centered comic convention, which has been doing extremely well. And now he's crucial in this co-op. So things like this can build empires, as well as be a flash in the pan. It could go either way.
Exactly right.
So, yeah.
And there is too many flash in the pans. There's always flash in the pans.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Can I change the subject or segue?
Go right ahead. As long as it's a good segue. As long as it's a good
great segue.
Okay, go.
Yeah, I've got lots to live up to, that segue you did earlier. So it's really interesting that you even invoke the name Hepcats, because I've been looking at the pictures from Hepcats online just this week. I'll tell you why in a second. but Hepcats from that black and white self-publishing movement is definitely one of the best comics that came out of it, and such a shame that it stopped halfway through a graphic novel. But there was a push to relaunch Hepcats a while after that by republishing it via Antarctic Press. So Antarctic Press republished the first, or every issue that there was, 11 issues. And the reason why I was looking at Antarctic Press and Hepcats was that I watched another YouTube. I sent you the link. I think you said you'd watched it as well. So a very long show. I can't watch them all. They go for like 3 hours, sometimes longer. But comic book industry kind of thing with some commentators, some shop owners, and they bring in guests every so often. And Ben Dunn, who is one of the two Dunn brothers who run Antarctic Press, was on talking about the Diamond distribution debacle. And I thought that would be interesting, one to watch, because he's been in self-publishing and micro-publishing, or indie publishing, since probably the late 80s, and still around now, and still successful, quite successful now. But I didn't know much about them, because as far as I knew, Antarctic Press was mostly manga and anime oriented.
That Ninja High School?
Ninja High School, yeah. And furry related. And a couple of times I've looked at their website, it made my eyes bleed, and it was hard to kind of figure out what I was looking at. And so I was interested to hear who Ben Dunn really is, because he's been around forever, and he is kind of touted as being one of the good guys. So it was a really interesting interview. It's months old now, so the stuff about Diamond is probably not terribly useful anymore. But I came out of that making a note in my notes for what to talk about this week. And the note was, I'm thinking of getting a publisher again. Why am I? But hearing him talk about the fact that he publishes indie publishers or indie creators in indie IP and owns none of it, just wants to help indie. And I'm going, well, maybe that's where Greener Pastures should go in a year or two's time, instead of me trying to do it. Antarctic Press at the beginning of whatever catalogs there are for distribution, and it starts with Antarctic Press. It'll be at the beginning of the catalog. He already has cachet. He's considered a good gatekeeper, in that he wouldn't be publishing it unless he thought it was good. And I'm going, well, should I be looking at that? And he will handle I would assume, the printing and the distribution, right? I'd be very happy to handle all of the pre-press, etc. I'm going, oh, is that something to consider or reconsider?
Yeah. And I did notice, out of curiosity, I got an email from the Dave Sim people during the week that Cerebus is doing a crossover with Ninja High School.
Yeah. So again, because they are similar in that being self-publishers and black and white and around at the same time, and I think Sim is kind of Dave Sim is pretty happy to just take on projects that interest him at the moment.
Yeah.
I think he's still working on the second volume of The Strange Death of
Alex Raymond.
As well, but I think that's a very kind of intense project with lots of reaching out to the universe to see what the universe is telling you, and also doing lots of factual research. And so I think it's a pretty intense project to do. So I don't know, I forget how they did it, but there was a bit of a conversation. They decided that they would do a Ninja High School Cerebus crossover. So I'm actually really looking forward to that.
I noticed that his Cerebus in Hell, which is the overarching numbering and continuity of the whole thing, is up to issue 87 or something.
Something crazy like that. Yeah.
I don't know how many people are aware that beyond Cerebus, he's done this other and his fashion title that he did, and the Alex Raymond material. And now he's doing the Cerebus in Hell, which is I don't know enough about it to go on. So what can you inform us about that project? Is it a ongoing series, or is it just a moniker that he laid all of his experiments under?
So it is a bit of a spoiler. If you intend to read 300 issues of Cerebus, and you don't want the last issue spoiled, you should close your ears, but the spoiler I'm about to say is telegraphed probably 250 issues beforehand. And that is Cerebus dies in the last issue. So what do you do after your main character dies? Well, what's he doing in the afterlife is what Cerebus in Hell is supposed to be.
Right.
But it's a comedy book, and it's not canon or whatever. It's not in story. I don't think. I haven't read any of them. I haven't bought any of them because the little bits of it I've read online I'm not interested, because they're just operating with clip art. They're making clip art out of Cerebus and just posting him in and using
I've seen some Gustave Doré artwork as well.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of
that.
Yeah.
So it's all just like comedy driven, in that, like a comic strip sort of thing. One page with a punchline, and another page with a joke and a punchline, another page. And it's like, it doesn't actually interest me, which is fine, which is what they say as well. That's fine. You don't have to read it.
Yeah.
So they've done like 86 or something issues of that, which is incredible.
And that's incredible in and of itself.
And Sim's not even writing all of it. He's got some of the entourage writing it and doing the artwork, like putting the artwork together. And so it starts to move too far away from the thing that I think is really great about Cerebus to keep my attention. The Glamour Puss, which he did, that interests me. I thought that, and The Strange Death of Alex Raymond came out of that. That was one of the two projects that were basically being serialized in there.
Right.
He did Judenhaus.
That's right.
Which you can download for free. He's given that away for free, but I think he was also giving away issues for free at one point as well, about concentration camps in World War II. That was pretty full on, and just, it's more than that. It was like it was a political kind of dissection of what's going on with what was happening in history at that point. So was that the only other thing? It was and The Strange Death of Alex Raymond. So
he was navigating all these creative waters while he was having problems with his wrists and drawing hand and things like that at the same time.
Yeah. I don't think I've got Strange Death sitting around. That's in the other room. Strange Death of Alex Raymond. Half of it was drawn by somebody else, I think, in the style of Sim's current hyper realistic comic book style. But that's a really interesting read, just to look into where Sim's mind is at the moment, and take that sentence as you like. But it's actually and as a experimental piece of comic book art, which is still on the page, right? It's not experimental like we had at was it called Off the Page in Melbourne recently, which is gallery driven and 3D, and that's I think that's extraordinarily important comics experimentation as well. But keeping it within the confines of the page, but still trying to do something that is pushing the boundaries of what you can do and how it works, and the meta kind of levels of it, with Dave Sim being in the story as well as commenting on the story and on himself, and as a historical kind of dissection of what happened to Alex Raymond and what that means for the history of comics and all sorts of things. It was very interesting.
And also the origins of the drawing style of his contemporaries, Alex Raymond's contemporaries. So it's a bit of a dive into the history of comic strips and how they're produced as well.
Which I think you have to take completely with a pinch of salt, probably a pinch of salt per page, if not per panel, some of the time, because this is Dave
Salt
Sims.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. Just liberally salt the pages. Dave Sims' unique perspective on how he thinks Alex Raymond came up with the style that he did and was able to output at the speed that he did in that style, which Sim can't understand how it could be done, and all of that. So a lot of it is conjecture, backed up by the experience of a cartoonist. But all of that stuff, it bothers me none. that it's like that. I think it's really interesting to read in that regard. Yeah.
Yes. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's all I got.
So anyway, I'm looking for a publisher. Maybe, I don't know. Should I? Should I not? It's rattling around in my head again.
An overseas publisher.
Yes. Oh yeah. I think here there's not much a publisher could offer me to make it worth my while.
Yeah. Which is an extension of the concept of teaming up with someone at the same creative level and point in their career that swapping stories and doing backups for each other might be an option as well. If that.
Yeah. There's the version of that. What's the word? The example of that from, was it 15 years ago or so, when Marcelo Baez and Craig
Phillips,
who now lives in New Zealand.
Phillips.
Yeah. That's right. Craig Phillips. Yeah, you said that. They did a flip book with Diabla on one side and Finch on the other. Both amazing stories. Both could have carried a comic by themselves, but together, how could you not buy that flip book? So great experiment. I wish they'd continued it on.
Yeah, the only downside of that is you will get readers that always complain that they're big fans of Finch, not so much of the other one, and I want more.
Or vice versa. Yeah,
or vice versa. I felt like that was a great mix, though. Those two really complemented each other in a big way.
Yeah.
So
it is that balance, right? Where you have to, they can't be the same. They have to complement each other, but they have to be definitely of a similar level of accomplishment, but also similar kind of level of style to a certain extent. And
remember the old
different
days
to an anthology, I think. Different to an anthology if it's a flip book. Sorry,
remember the old days when Hellboy had the Monkey Man and O'Brien backup?
Yeah.
By Art Adams. I don't know whether it was a good fit, but that's an example of what we're talking about of two high quality IPs, traveling along together. Yeah.
Yeah. I once talked to Arthur Adams about bringing back Monkey Man and O'Brien, and I said, why don't you do that? Well, it's like, surely it would be a huge seller. Like, do you not like it anymore? He says, I love it. I wish I could do that. I'm going, you could. So who knows? He's an extraordinarily busy man. He's doing commissions all the time. His covers probably take 3 weeks each to draw. They're so detailed and incredible.
But he's just like us, where he's staying home going, I wish I had more time to draw Monkey Man and O'Brien, but I've got these hundreds of commissions to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So life gets in the way of a good time.
Yeah. Monkey Man and O'Brien.
Monkey Man.
But you know why they complement each other, Hellboy and Monkey Man and O'Brien, is because both of those creators, at a very high level of their ability at this stage, just go, what do I like to draw? What is it that I like? And Arthur Adams likes talking gorillas and giant monsters, and Mike Mignola likes, demons and Cthulhu type monsters, and so just write stories around.
Yeah,
and the odd gorilla, that's right. Especially if it's a gorilla with a swastika on it and cyborg implants. But yeah, that's like they're really good examples of if you're good at what you do, draw and write something you'd like to see and read, and it's that much more likely to be a success, I would say.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. And the whole idea of drawing a backup, like 8 pages, 6 pages, 8 pages, it's an effort, but it's not insurmountable effort to do that running alongside producing a regular title of your own. And then you have something that after you can collect as the short stories, and that's just a slow accumulation of material that gives you something else to collect and publish down the track.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why I want to do the Grander Pastures team up book, which I've got several stories at least finished to the pencil stage and waiting for me to ink. Is to bring in people who like Killeroo to read my comic, and hopefully maybe if they don't read Killeroo and they read my comic and they see that they'll, Killeroo. I don't think I've ever said this on the show. There was a crossover with Killeroo and Billy Demon Slayer. We talked about Hayden Fryer just last week, I think it was, and Madison, I think the character's name was, from a short-lived comic which I really loved. Or what was it called? Anyway, so the three of them crossed over in like a interdimensional crossover thing.
Right, I remember this. Yeah.
And three, I think it was drawn by three artists. But there was a scene. One of the artists asked, there's a scene where somebody's walking down some stairs and there's pictures in the background, framed paintings. If you want your character in one of the frames, send me an image. So Trevor ended up in one of those. And then he said to me, we've actually got a scene taking place in a restaurant. Can Trevor be the waiter? And I said, sure, whatever. And Trevor wasn't the waiter. Trevor was every waiter. So there was like multiple Trevors in the background waiting on tables. It was really funny. Yeah, it was pretty trippy. And I've got a couple of contributor copies. But at one point, I think it was Hayden had them on his table at a geek market, so Goldman Geek Markets. And he said, "Do you want some to take to your next show? Just take them and sell them." And I think I took 5, and they sold in no time. Like I had people looking at my table, and I'd go, "This is the story of a bull who's decided that they want to see what it's like to be a person." Blah blah blah. And they're going, "Oh yeah, that sounds interesting. Oh my God, is that Killeroo? That's fantastic. I'll buy that one." And I'm not like that's pretty much verbatim. And I go, okay, I'm not going to sell them my comic, but I'm so glad that they've picked up that one for much more than what I was selling my comics for. Yeah. So it's got legs, always will have legs.
Killeroo is a great character. Yeah, lots of potential.
It's the reason why Killeroo will headline the first issue of Team Up, Green Pastures Team Up, when it finally happens. Very cool story that Michael and Michael Michelandos and Darren Close kind of co-wrote together. So yeah. That'll happen eventually.
And what's the art team there? Are you drawing that yourself, or is?
No, I'm inking it. Hinaya's is penciling it. Like you, somebody whose name I know very well constantly, and then when I need to pull it out on a podcast, I can't remember it. But the artwork is amazing.
Yeah, right.
I did the layouts because they weren't really comfortable working from the script. So I did the layouts, and then they improved the layouts immensely. It was great. And now I'm going to leather and ink it, which I'm really keen on because the pencils are really nice. So
cool. Good stuff. Yeah. And yes, as you say, a whole swag of short stories gives a lot of flexibility for lots of things down the track. Yep,
exactly. No, totally. But yeah.
Okay. Is that enough for today?
I suppose, or you can hear me rabbit on about my iMac woes. I'm going to buy an iMac today.
Goodbye, everyone. I'm stopping the recording now. You don't want to go into IT. This is not an IT show.
Fair enough. You're right.
Okay. Absolutely. Wave goodbye to the kiddies.
See you, kiddies. We'll see you next week. Bye.